Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley Davidson. Today's guest is Freestyle Motocross Athlete, Kain Saul. Welcome, mate.
Good to be here.
Who's Kain Saul?
Who is he? Is that a question or are you going to tell me?
It's not a statement. It'd have to be a question on that one, mate. Who are you?
Kain Saul, freestyle motocross rider from Australia. I've been doing that since I was 14. So what's that, like 22 years now or something like that? Or
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy. Doing still 22 years and I'm 36 now and I'm still doing it. Like it's...
And that's a long
I look at photos from 2008. I posted a thing on Instagram last night. It was me doing quad overflips, and that was in 2008, and I'm still doing them now. I'm like, I'm getting pretty old for this kind of shit. So it's kind of surprising.
It's one of those things now. I guess you've got traceability of through having socials. You see when you posted it.
Yeah.
In the past, you never would have looked back at a photo. Say at 2008, you wouldn't have seen something from 95.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
sort of, we see kind of got old photos that are like pixelated. You can't really see them of just jumping back in the day and stuff. Yeah. And you're just like been riding for a long time. So
were you a 14-year-old bike rider? That was your first ride of a bike?
That's pretty much, I don't know when it was first. I might have ridden a bike when I was younger than 14, but I actually got a motorbike and started riding when I was 14. So, and then I started racing straight away. So that was pretty much when I first got introduced to actually riding properly and all that kind of stuff. So
wow, so racing was your first port of call? Yeah,
it was kind of just rode in the bush and all that sort of stuff. And then John O'Porter moved in a couple houses up, and he got me into it pretty quickly. So it was, as you can see, my skills built up pretty quick, and from him just riding with him every day. So it was, ended up happening pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a, isn't it a fun sport once you're in it?
Yeah, until you get injured, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So what was the first one? What was the first bike you got to go race motocross on?
It was a 84 model KX80, I think. Yep. So back then, that was like a little green thing. I blew it up every second month or whatever, and Dad always used to be pissed off at me for blowing it up, but they kept fixing it and kept me on the track, and so it was pretty cool. So I reckon I spent a lot of their money just rebuilding that thing,
just keeping it running.
Yeah.
Well, it's so 84. So you're 14. So what's that? 2098. 98. You would have been 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that.
Clue, yeah.
So you're on a 84 model KX80 at that point.
In 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have been. I remember buying Jono's factory race CR125 and like his 99 model, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was a 125 and it was a big step up, and I was like so short, because I'm short as it is.
Yeah.
But back then I was like really short and I couldn't touch the ground on the 125, and I was trying to cruise around on it, and it was a pretty big bike, and the thing was obviously fast, so it was hard to ride for me, but picked it up pretty quick.
What was the age difference between you and Jono? Was it maybe 3 or 4 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 4 years. Yeah,
4 years.
Yep.
Mate, he would have been a huge influence back then, hey?
Yeah, he definitely was. Like, as I said, like, we hung out every day together.
Yeah.
Mum would even let me have days off school, and that would probably explain a lot right now. But yeah, days off school, and then we'd just go ride in the bush every day.
Yep.
Like, even if I did go to school, I'd come straight home, go to Jono's, just get on my bike, go to Jono's. We go ride straight out the back of our house into the state forest and go find jumps, build jumps, do tricks and all that kind of stuff. So he was, and I learnt so much from him. So I think without him, my bike skills and all that kind of stuff, I'd be a little bit of a goon, I guess. But he's, pointed me in the right direction.
Were you a natural?
No, I wasn't.
No?
No, it was kind of like, I didn't really. I think I was just young and just had a good go at everything. Like Jono's like, hit that jump on my righto, and I didn't really know how to jump, and I'd loop out and everything, and then he'd kind of correct my technique and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I mean. Like without him, I don't think I would have been as good as I am today. So,
man, that must have been a big hit for you guys when that happened to Jono.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty heavy. It was crazy.
So going up in Gladstone and that, did you know him before he moved in a few doors up the road?
No. So I was at school one day and then came home, And Mum came home from work, and then she's like, "We got a professional motocross family moving in 2 doors up. One of them's a professional motocross rider."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then Mum's like, "Yeah, he goes through like 5 helmets a year." I'm like, "He must be pretty shit. Like, why would you go through 5 helmets a year?" And then I didn't really know the motocross scene or anything then. And then he moved in like that next couple of days, and then went up and meet him, and then we became best friends straight away. And yeah, it's just like I had all his hand-me-downs, all his gear, and so I didn't really ever have to pay for much in that side of things. And just went from there, best friends from there. And yeah.
How was racing?
Racing was good.
Yeah.
I picked that up pretty quickly after Jono, like a lot of coaching from Jono.
Yeah.
So like I was racing that KX80 84 model, and I was beating all these guys on like 98 like brand new bikes. Like
Wow.
I was like flogging them.
Yeah.
And this was just like Central Queensland, all club days and all that kind of stuff. And then got on the 125, and then I was still like beating. I was always top 3, and then end up getting like 3rd in CQ overall. And I never got graded to A grade though. I was always B grade, always C grade, beating all the A graders.
Yeah.
But then I was a little bit inconsistent at the time, so I got graded to B grade, and then that's when all the injuries started to happen. And then Jono happened, and I sort of got over racing, and then it was kind of that was it. After Jono passed, it was like I was done with racing. I was it was over it. Didn't want Mum and Dougie to lose another son. So Dougie was Jono's dad.
Right.
Yeah, for those that didn't know, and he's married to my mum now. So.
Oh, really?
They were together when Jono passed anyway. So he went from best friend to stepbrother.
Yeah, wow. That's heavy, eh? You guys are very close. Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Because I see, like, always when you're up there, always taking a photo up in Gladstone with, is it John Porter Boulevard?
Yeah, John Porter Drive. You can't do a road trip up there without getting a selfie in front of the street sign. So that's pretty cool.
It's just one. Yeah, it's such a thing for Aussie sport.
That sign has been stolen like 14 times already.
Seriously?
Yeah, everyone just keeps stealing. They just keep replacing it. So we got one at our compound, 50-60 compound, but we got ours made. So there was a bit of a blow up about how dare you steal that sign. It's so disrespectful. I'm like, we got this actually made from the council. Like it wasn't we didn't steal it. So
yeah, right. Because I think it'd be one of those things that. It's such a respectful thing, you know, to have something like that.
It's kind of like people find it disrespectful to steal that sign, but I'm like, fuck, like it's kind of like, sorry for swearing, but it's kind of like if someone's got that sign, like good on them, like everyone's going to kind of steal that sign, like it's keepers, like it's a good addition to the like shed or whatever you got going on at home.
He was a massive piece of motocross history for Australia.
Yeah,
he was a big thing, and just so professional.
Yeah,
in the way everything was done.
Yeah, on and off the bike, he was an absolute legend. So I learned so much from him off the bike, and I guess without that as well, I wouldn't be who I am today. I'd probably be a little dickhead or something. But I don't know. But he was just so nice to everyone off the bike, everyone he met. Like he gave time to fans and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm pretty much followed in his footsteps, I hope, most of the time.
How long did you stop riding for? Did you just stop after that for a bit?
Kind of stopped. We were into mini bikes a lot at the time, but just like mini 50s, like Honda 50s, just racing them around, cruising around, having fun on them. And then as soon as Jono passed, like I just stopped riding big bikes like from then on. And that's when the mini bike scene was picking up, and I started doing freestyle on mini bikes, and I ended up getting really good at it, and I ended up making a living out of it. And I was doing tricks on mini bikes that people weren't even doing people weren't even flipping on big bikes at this stage, and I was doing quad over flips and super flips on a mini bike at this stage, and I was like, hey, if I can make money out of this, I'm gonna run with it. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I got a full-time gig on Showtime riding mini bikes, and then the Crusty tour I rode for them for like 6 years, and I rode mini bikes the whole time for them as well.
Wow.
So travelled the world riding mini bikes. Who would have thought?
Such a peak time for them too, hey? It's sort of like 110's coming through now.
Yeah.
Sort of that.
Everyone's getting back on the 110s now and having some fun,
So your introduction really to freestyle was through mini bikes?
Well, sort of when I was racing and riding with Jono, Jono built like a freestyle. We always just used to do tricks in the bush, like every day after school or whatever jump we could find. But Jono built a ramp set up behind his dad's factory, and then we kind of. He was actually like one of the top freestyles in Australia and the world at the time. So I was just learning stuff from him, and obviously wasn't jumping as big because I didn't have the really good bike skills for jumping and all that kind of stuff yet. But still doing like seat grabs and double seat grabs and just like all basic tricks. But because it was my race bike, I didn't want to cut grab holes in my seat and cut my seat down. So Johnny came up with this little invention. It was a high ace door handle that you help yourself into the door, into the car. So he unbolted that and just screwed it to my subframe. So I had something to grab onto just to do seat grabs. So
from the race van.
Yeah, and so then when I wasn't doing freestyle, I'd take that handle off and back into a race bike because I only had the one bike, obviously. So it was tough times back then, but you had to do what you had to do.
That's it. That was probably racing in the time. Hey, it was always just make what you could. Eh?
Yeah, definitely.
So your relationship with Showtime started way back then.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how long I've been with them. It would have been like over 15 years now, I think.
Wow,
it's crazy.
And up until when you've still got the relationship there, but until this year where there's no shows, you're still.
Yep, still with them.
Still with them.
Still, yep. One of the top. They've always got the main three riders. So you got Robbie Marshalls and Brad Birch, and the first two riders at the moment, and then I'm the third rider. So I can obviously go around. They're the main two riders, so they go do all the shows. Yep. And then whenever they need someone else, I fill in, or three rider shows, and that's me. And I can also go off and do other shows. So which is kind of good in some ways, but then if they don't have any other shows, it kind of sucks because you're not getting as much money. But it's I'm happy with that position, and it's been pretty cool all over the years.
Running around in the late 90s on a KX80, would you ever thought you'd made a career out of doing this?
Definitely not. Not a chance. Like I didn't. Like when I was racing, I kind of wanted. I was at that point. I'm like, this is what I want to do for a living. I want to race, and I was like. But I suffered so bad from arm pump. I guess everyone does, but I was like, at that point, I'd do 6 laps, and that's when all the broken bones started happening on the 125. Like I'd had that bad arm pump, and I just come like flat out down the like whoops and just high side and just start snapping bones and stuff, all because of my arm pump because I couldn't hang on to the bike. And I actually looked into getting started this operation where they supposedly cut your veins, cut some tendon in your forearms to stop you getting arm pump. And I was just like, nearly got it. And then that's when I just kind of got it. That was nearly at the Jono stage when he passed away. So I kind of got over that. So I went from wanting to do that and then just having fun riding mini bikes.
Yep, just enjoying it.
Yeah, and then I was like, never thought I'd really make a living out of it or anything like that. And then it got to the point the mini bike scene started to fade down, and I I said to Gary, like, can you give me a big bike? Because I don't want to find a real job. I want to keep riding for the rest of my life. And he lent me a YZ 250F, a Yamaha 250F at the time that they were on. And I got on them, and I transferred. Wasn't allowed to cut that bike up either, so I couldn't do any grab tricks or anything like that. And went straight down to Sinclair's foam pit, did like 10 75 flips into the foam pit, and then ended up doing 100 to dirt within that week. Wow. And then within like the couple of months of riding, I had more flip tricks than I did upright tricks, like because I wasn't allowed to cut the bike up. So I transferred everything I had from the mini bikes onto the big bikes real quick. So then that secured me a full-time gig with Showtime on big bikes then. So that was awesome.
Oh, so it happened that quick?
Yeah, that quick.
Adapted over that quick. Wow.
It was kind of scary for me, like as like I wasn't riding big bikes again. I had to not learn everything from the start, but kind of start from scratch again. And I kind of all the transfer up from the tricks was a lot easier because you had more time to do it. You were jumping bigger, higher, and everything. So I'm pretty happy that it happened that way. So it was good.
And that's crazy to think that you say that that's easy to go to the bigger bike, but because obviously time slows down in the air, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And when you're jumping bigger jumps, you've got more time.
Yeah. Yeah, now I look back and I'm like, I get on a mini bike, I'm like, how the hell did I used to do that shit that I did back in the day? I'm like, there's no way I could do that now. I couldn't even do a basic trick on them. It was like crazy.
Wow. That's nuts to think, eh?
But sometimes we get in the foam pit and have some fun, and we still do some pretty cool shit in the foam pit. I'm like, then that makes me think, yeah, I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm just like, I'm getting old now and everything hurts, and I'm like, that's probably how I'm going to get injured again.
So you're 36 now?
36, yep.
So you're 36. We always, like, you're 36 and fit as anything. We always fit natural train, like a trainer.
I wasn't, no. I was, right now, I'm 36 and I'm probably the muscliest and fittest I've ever been. Probably not cardio fit, but just like back in the Crusty Tour days, I'd never trained. Back when I was younger, we used to ride BMX and stuff to school, like BMX every day after motocross, so that kept me fit. I always had like good genetics from my old boy. I don't know what happened to the other two brothers. They were kind of they didn't get any of that. But it was like, then I went on tour, never actually did strength conditioning training or anything like that, and then went on tour and put on with Crusties back in the day, Europe tour, and put on like 10 kilos, and I got like kind of plumpish, my face was round, and I see photos of them like, holy shit, like that's me. I'm like, that's crazy. And then moved to the Gold Coast when I was 20, and I met some guys through that, just through mates, and he, one of them was a trainer. He goes, I want you to come train with me and see if you like it. And I was like, righto. So I went and trained with him, and every day trained then from like, I pretty much haven't stopped training. And it was like, for the first year, I trained with him every day, and I was so sore. I'd wake up in the mornings, couldn't even like open my arms up, like my biceps were that stiff, and I just kept going. And ever since then, it's just like, I need to train. I love it, and it's good for your mental health as well. And I think everyone should do it, some kind of training,
just every day.
Yeah.
Now you've made it a work as well. You turn that into passion, I guess.
So
into
my girlfriend I've had for nearly 4 years now, has been on my back about having a baby. So she's, I'm like, what am I going to do when I don't ride? Like, I'm not going to need to support this kid. So I'm into fitness and shit. So I may as well. I looked into getting my Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness. So did that while coronavirus was happening, and learnt so much through that. And as at school, I wasn't much of a learner. As I said, I got to have a lot of days off to go riding. And then it was just blowing my mind, like trying to learn all this stuff. I was getting home at night, just like losing my shit, just like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do it. And then girlfriend was helping me a little bit. And then by the end of it, I was killing it. I was helping everyone else and just like learnt so much. And I'm like actually really into it. So, and I do it every day anyway. So why not learn about it? And now that it's sort of, I got my Cert 4 qualified, I'm just like, it's just everything. Every day you just learn something new, and going to get tech tips from like Ryan Gambin and stuff like that, like people that are about 100%, I'm about 10%. And it's just like, and like I know a bit, but then you get those guys and you're like, I don't know if I can ever get to that level from all the head knocks I've had. So I'm like, you know, but I'm learning every day, and I'm into it. And then I started build a gym at home, and I started training mums. I've actually trained mums and bubs mostly. So, but they because like COVID's like just hit, and then everyone's sort of, I don't have any shows with Showtime or anything like that. So, or if I don't really do much during the day, so then it's good for time wise for them. They can come any time of the day or afternoon and stuff like that. So it's worked out pretty good. Nice little side project for me until start riding again, then just keep building that up while I go, and then fall back on that.
Did you ever think you'd be doing that?
I didn't know. I just, like, everyone's been asking me all over the years, what are you going to do when you don't ride? I'm like, I'm going to ride forever. Like, I'll be riding forever. Yeah. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I just kept like brushing it, and then I was just, ever since Ali was kind of on my back about this baby thing, I'm like, I need to support this kid. We have a kid, so I need to sort my life out and need something to fall back on, and so it's working out so far. So we're good. Yeah,
awesome, mate. How'd you get on the Crusty tour? How does that start?
Well, they seen what I was doing on mini bikes. And as I was friends through Jono, I was friends with Bilko and Sinks and all those boys, and they were already on that tour. And then they just called. They obviously mentioned my name, showed them videos of what I was doing, and then that's when they had, I don't know what year it was, maybe 2005. Maybe they had a that world record show at Brisbane. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
Like Seth was jumping big, and Matto was doing seat grabs.
This is the outdoor one.
Yeah, outdoor one. So that was my first Crusty show ever. And I just rocked up there, never hit a super kicker on a mini bike or anything. I'm like, yep, I can do it. Go for it. Let's go. And then we get there and we're just crashing and eating shit, but just having a good time. And then I was with him for 6 years after that. So
wow, was it good?
Traveled the world. Like I said, traveled the world riding mini bikes. Like it was awesome. Like it was massive party scene. It's just all the riding and all the people are just awesome to hang out with, and yeah, wouldn't take back anything, that's for sure.
It was a good time for the sport too, hey?
Yeah, it was. It was back then. It was freestyle was like massive. It was huge.
What was the favourite location?
Oh, it's been so many over the years. Obviously, ones close to home are always the best ones because you don't have to travel, and obviously everyone gets sick of traveling all the time and all that sort of stuff. But we've done shows in South America, like Paraguay, I think one show was, and like we had to get escorted off the field from riot police because all the crowd, like 30,000 people, just came in trying to get to us, and like it was crazy. We were shitting ourselves, but the riot police surrounded around us and like got us off the football field and stuff like that, and like just stuff like that. Always remember stuff like that. But like we've done tours with even Nitro Circus tours with Sinks and Top Dog and Bilko and Chucky, and like we've always had a good crew. So like Magaluf, if anyone's ever heard of Magaluf, like that's the place to be. Like Birchie, Harry, Bink as well. We all went to that one, and that was probably one of our best times we had. Kind of most stories you can't really share though. So
they're stories that keep under the hat forever.
Yeah, definitely.
You've made some good mates out of it, eh?
Yeah, 100%. We've mates till this day. Like we're sort of we always see each other when we go to the towns they're living in, and not lately, of course, because the borders have been shut. But everyone still keeps in touch with everyone, and it's good. We ride together. We've got tours coming up, and wherever everyone's on tour, it works out perfect. So. But it's pretty dangerous getting like all the boys together, and you just know it's just going to be a big party scene again. So,
do you remember your first tour? Do you remember going on, and were you nervous, or what do you remember anything about it?
Well, the first tour was I don't really know actually. I think it would have been a Krusty's Australian tour.
Yeah, I
think. But I do remember one tour I was riding big bikes and mini bikes, but I wasn't doing shows on big bikes at this time. But we had a Europe tour for Krusty's back in the day, and I did two days before I come up short at Marshall's compound out near Ipswich somewhere, I don't know. Come up short, 75 frame case, it snapped my ankle, like that big bone on your ankle. And then I was messaging them like, hey, I think I've broken my ankle, but I'm walking on it. I'm coming on this tour. They're like, well, you can't. You need you got a broken ankle. I'm like, well, it's happening. So I ended up talking him into letting me go. And so I was only riding mini bikes, so let's say 4 to 5 jumps a show. And I was like, I'm coming on this tour. I don't care. I'll eat so many painkillers just to finish, just to get these shows done. So I got overseas to Europe on crutches. And I didn't I had a little boot on or whatever just when I wasn't riding. So I was on crutches the whole time. Then come showtime, just ate heaps of painkillers, which isn't good for you. Just ate heaps of painkillers, did me 5 jumps, like did everything right. Like I obviously tried to weight that the other leg so I wouldn't put too much pressure on that ankle, because the doctor said, he goes, there's a bit of this big crack in there. He goes, there's a chance you're going to fully snap it, or you might get away with it. So I don't know what you're doing. So take a chance if you want. So I took the chance and ended up doing that whole tour. And by the end of the tour, my ankle come kind of good. It was still sore, but that was one to remember for sure.
Now, you blokes and girls now that do that as well, you must have a killer pain threshold.
Yeah, you'd like to think so, and then it's kind of, I've broken over 30 bones, so like a broken bone doesn't really bother me, but like saying that, like when I snapped my femur in 2002, like I was out cold for 2 weeks, like nearly died, so that was kind of like, I don't remember that, but I wouldn't want to be awake when I snapped a femur, like I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So I think Harry Binks snapped his femur at World Games like a couple of years back, and he was awake that whole time, and he said he was in so much pain. So
that was disgusting to watch that one.
Yeah,
that was
gross.
Yeah,
that was that fronty to over rotate.
Yeah. You just see some of them, and you think, how does one not get away? Like a broken leg is horrendous.
Yeah.
But how do you get away from just falling from the sky? Which you've done,
but I've done. But I nearly didn't get away with it. So that was.
What was the one in 02?
That was went to an event. That was when we just first started backflipping.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'd only done like 6 before that event.
Yep.
And that was all off of like a different ramp, like Jono had his ramp. We had it jacked up it was on a trailer ramp.
Yep.
So we had the wheels jacked up off the ground. So it was like a kick.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it wasn't a super kick. It was a standard ramp, like jacked up kind of thing. And then did 6 off that, I think. And then come that day, went to zero gravity. Never jumped a super kicker on a big bike or anything. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't care. Like I'm just 17 at the time, just young and dumb. And I just turned 18 actually, I think.
Yep.
And I was so come to that time, like never jumped a super kick. I was rocked up, jumping in practice, sweet, and then did one perfect one in practice. It was fine. Then come the night show, I went to do it, and then just like at this time, like because we didn't practice into foam pits, it was just straight to dirt or anything like that. So I didn't really have the technique or know what I was doing. I was just winging it. And then come the night show, I was like you see footage, I was leaning back. My ass was on the back seat, like on the back mudguard before I even got to the ramp. Like I just full brain fade, didn't know what I was doing. And then that stopped. As soon as I left the ramp, that stopped the rotation.
Yeah.
So the bike came down on me, landed on my head, the foot peg went through my helmet. Like I nearly died on the spot. Like it was crazy. There was a paramedic in the crowd, and there was like volunteer ambo people there or something. They didn't know I started convulsing. They didn't know what to do. They just stood back like, holy shit.
Wow.
Paramedic in the crowd and climbing the fence, showed his badge or whatever, stuck a tube down my throat and saved my life like right there. And I seen him a couple of weeks later in hospital when I woke up, and he said if he wasn't there, I'd be dead. So I was like, thank you, sir.
Man, that's huge.
Thanks for that, mate.
Wow. And back in 2002.
Yeah. And I just turned 18, and the doctor, because I had so much like head injuries from that.
Yep.
I think they called it gravel rash on the brain or something like that. But I wasn't allowed to drink, just turned 18, I wasn't allowed to drink for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, that lasted 6 months. So that would probably explain a few more things about how I am now anyway. So,
mate, that's a huge one.
Yeah. So that was a snap femur. I went through 4 operations in that one night because that swelling was so bad. I got a scar from my knee up to my hip. Like it's real thick as well.
Yeah.
Wrecked my shoulder on that one as well. So that was the start of all my shoulder injuries, and the head injury. Well, that was pretty bad, and that took me a bit to get over that. Like I didn't get back on the bike for 10 months, and then when I did get back on the bike, like I snapped my wrist first ride.
Oh, really?
God, this isn't working for me. But then that leg got infected. Like after like probably 6 months of healing, there was a bit down the bottom, bit up the top. I was always picking at it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, just leave it. And I'm like, there's something wrong with it. Like, and I couldn't stay awake. Like I'd be awake for an hour and I'd just fall asleep. All I do all day is sleep.
Yeah, right.
And there's like, what's wrong with him? And I didn't pick the scabs for a while, and they bubbled over into big yellow things. And I was like, yeah, stop picking it. Yeah, righto. Yeah. So Mum took me to the doctor. So the internal stitches they put in weren't dissolvable, so they got infected. And because it was infected for so long, that's gone down into my bone. And I was in hospital for a week, like on all these antibiotics and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I honestly thought I was going to lose my leg. Like they said, there's a chance you could. And I'm like, so that was one of the longest weeks of my life. I was like, I don't want to lose this leg. And they end up cleaning me up. And anyway, so still got my legs. So it's a plus.
Does that give you grief now?
Yeah, definitely.
That one does?
Yeah. Yeah, and I also got hit by a car in 2014, snapped compound tib and fib on the other knee.
Yeah.
No, that was on the same leg actually, same leg as that.
Dude.
And so they rotted that, and I've had like 4 or 5 operations on that just to try and get the metal work in and out. And then when they tried to get it out, they couldn't get a screw out, like stripped a head, and like it had to take so much bone out. And then if they did that, like I'd be off the bike for another like 4 months or whatever. I'm like, I've got to do shows, like leave it in there. And they're like, so they left it in there, and I had to go back and get more operations later on. And yeah, that was a pretty shit year.
Because you were on the bicycle or something, hey?
Yeah, I just got a knee reco. It started in March 2014. No.
Yeah.
Just about to get back on the bike. Yeah. And then the cycling, I don't like cycling, but I got a cycle bike because it was good low impact on the knees and all that sort of stuff. It's going to build up those muscles. And I was cycling, and then just going through a T intersection, and a dude just did not even see me and just T-boned me. So it flipped me through the air, landed on my face. I had a big gravel rash across my forehead and compound tib and fib. Like I picked up my leg. I landed in the seating position somehow, and then picked up my leg and went to move it into a safe spot, and that whole bottom half just dangled down. And I was like, oh, that's pretty gross. And I'm like, but it did not hurt for one bit, did not hurt. Wow. And I was just like, because the adrenaline was just pumping, and I was like, holy shit. And then I turned around, and it's like seeing the dude like driving up the road still. I was like, he's like leaving the scene. And then he ended up pulling up the road like 200 meters because he didn't even really know he hit me. He was that shocked as well. And then he just come back down. He was like, the ambo rocked up within probably a minute. It was like they were driving past. They knew it was going to happen or something. They were there within a minute. And then they got me on the green whistle, which I didn't need at the time. I was just like, yeah, give us the green whistle. I don't mind the green whistle.
Yep.
I had a few of my time. So that was that sucked. And then the cops rocked up to the hospital.
Yeah.
When I was in there, I was like, what have I done? Like I got hit by a car, and they're like, they just obviously standard procedure, take your blood and alcohol readings and all that kind of stuff. And I actually thought I was in trouble for something.
Yeah.
But that was good. The readings came back negative for everything. So
were you on the Goldie? That was there?
Yeah. Yep. Happened in Mudgeeraba.
Lucky
Scullin Street. Remember exactly where it is.
The whole lot.
Yeah.
Mate, lucky it was someone like yourself that's had injury.
Yeah.
You know, like that scale of injury and being awake for it. You imagine...
Yeah.
Like what you do is superhuman. Like what, you know, athletes in different parts of motorcycling where they've had injuries, and you see Mick doing walking along with his legs the way they are now, and that
crazy.
It's superhuman. You imagine if it was just Joe Blow on the street, they probably couldn't have dealt.
Couldn't handle it. Yeah. Well, that's what I called Mum straight away. I was in the ambulance. I'm like, hey Mum, I just got hit by a car.
Yep.
Compound tib and fib. And she's like, no, you didn't. What are you doing? And I was like, 100%, I did. I just got hit by a car. Like my leg's broken. It's snapped in half. Like it's the bone's poking out the skin.
Yep.
She goes, no, you didn't. What are you doing? And I was like, all right, I put you under the ambo lady. She got on the ambo lady, and she goes, yeah, it's happened. It did. And then she goes, oh, like, how did you not? Were you not in pain? I was like, no, it was fine. Like I was just pissed off that some dude hit me in a car.
Yeah.
And even the ambo lady's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I just want give us that green whistle. Like it's just fine.
Mate.
Yeah.
Did it destroy your knee reco?
Well, the knee reco was on the left side.
Yeah.
Yep. So the snap femur from that 2002 crash was on the right side, but because of all those, they put the rod through the top of my knee, which is weird. They usually put it in through the bottom, through the tib.
Yeah.
But they put it through the top for some reason. My doctors didn't know why they did that. Yep. So I've had knee troubles since that day from that, and it's kind of sucks now because it's like now both my knees are shit.
Yep.
Like my knee reco one's it's not as good as it used to be. Like my meniscus keeps popping out all the time, and the doctor said we can get back in there and clean it up. But at that stage, that knee reco, I had like 10 operations in that year, and I was like, I'm not having another operation. I'll just deal with it. Like I'm sick of it. Like I'm sick of over getting hurt over this shit. So I'm just gonna deal with 2 shitty knees now.
Yeah,
that's like getting old. When I tell people I'm getting old, I'm like 36. They're like, how old are you? I'm like 36, and then like you're not old. And I'm like, my body's old. I've broken over 30 bones. I feel it every day.
I've aged it.
Yeah.
Do you keep track of things like the stem cell replacement stuff for knees and stuff?
No, I haven't. No. It's like ever since I was growing up, I thought there's going to be cures for all these broken bones and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely am going to start looking into it soon. It's going to get to that. When I can't train like I want to, it's definitely going to be on the cards.
Yeah, do something like that sort of thing, because it does seem, you know, I'm 36 as well, and I've seen the evolution of how, you know, people have changed and done this and that. I'm sure that people can have longevity in their careers with stem cells and stuff like that moving forward. Eh?
Yeah, hope so.
Be good, mate. Then you can actually ride forever.
Yeah, that's the plan.
You went on.
I want to be the oldest freestyle motocross rider in the world. That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool. Eh?
I don't think it'd be doing much, but yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
On an electric bike.
Yeah. On something.
Tell me this. You went on the Huntington tour, didn't you, too? Like
I didn't go on that tour.
No?
They called me up for the last stop at the Gold Coast.
Oh, was it?
So I only went there and did that last show with them, yeah.
Yeah.
So got to meet Kerry Hart there and hang out with him, which is a cool dude. And we ended up riding with him out at Shuey's house one afternoon and had a big ride day, which was pretty cool. And end up getting one of his jerseys off him, and one of those Hart and Huntington, he gave out like necklaces things that were worth like $3,000 or something. So I ended up getting one of them. Didn't even do the whole tour. So I got his jersey and that necklace framed up in a cool frame at home. So
that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I remember that one, and because that's the one up here, the memory. I thought you must have done the full.
No, I think I might have had Showtime shows at the time, so I couldn't do the whole tour. So.
And that was they did a good job with that tour too, hey?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I think that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Why'd you jump the Harley? How'd that come about?
Well, Gav from Quick Fix Harley in Mildura.
Yep.
Gav Walker. He always had that vision of someone flipping a Harley, and he put it out to a few dudes like Matto and a couple other guys, and they didn't want anything to do with it. They're just like, nah, not happening. Don't do it. And then he rang me, and I was just like, yep. I'll do it. Just not even thinking, like, haven't even ridden a Harley before.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'll go for it. Like, what's it, just a bike? Let's flip it.
Yeah.
And then I thought it would have 6 months to prepare for this thing. And then he rang me like probably a week or two later and goes, you need to get down here now, and you got to go to Cam Singh's foam pit. We need to practice his flip into the foam pit and then do it to dirt by Sunday, because he heard truck. Because he'd spent like 6 months on building this Harley to flip that it was flippable. So it was a XR 1200 Sportster. So he had KTM suspension on the front and back, like I don't know what it was on the back, just stiffer springs.
Yeah.
But it was made it so you could actually perform the flip on it and land without snapping your ankles and your wrists or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of little mods to it, but it was still like, I don't know how much they weigh, like 300 and some kilos, or
still pretty heavy, eh?
So like crazy. So I'd never ridden a Harley before, and he's like, you need to come down because Chuck Carruthers is claiming he's going to flip the same bike on Sunday. And I was like, shit, righto, it's all happening. And then I started freaking out. I was like, fuck, never ridden a Harley before. So flew down there into Singh's foam pit. We got on the Harley, rode around for about 10 minutes just around the paddock. I was just like, yep, sweet, righto, let's go. Did a straight jump into the foam pit. Nearly missed the foam pit, like nearly went too long because I didn't know they had torque, that power.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was pretty high. And I seen a photo of that the other day. I was like, first jump into the foam. First time I rode a Harley, may as well jump it into the foam pit. I was like, it was pretty funny. And then, so I ended up first jump into the pit was straight jump, and I was like, shit myself. And I was like, make sure if this thing lands on me, you just need to get it off me straight away. Like freaking out. I was scared to burning to death if something happened, like something like that. And then we had so many people there helping out. And then my first flip came around off a super kick, came around perfect. And then I did like 10 of them perfect into the pit. We pushed the ramp straight over to the dirt and then did it straight to dirt, like straight up first go. It was the best one I've ever done.
Seriously?
Yeah, and then, that stirred up a bit of shit on the internet with Carruthers and all that kind of stuff, because he thought we just went out and bought a Harley just to beat him to do it. And like, that's not how it went down. Like, someone spends 6 months getting this Harley ready to be the world's first backflip on a Harley Davidson. Yeah. And for someone else to come in and take that title, like, not happening. Like, Gav wanted him to be a part of that. So we made that happen for Gav, and it's a cool opportunity for me to go the world's first. So, yeah.
It was huge, eh?
Yeah, it was awesome. Then we went on to that Krusty's put it on their live show, that their last live show they did, and ended up doing
2010 tour.
Yeah, ended up doing another 10 on that tour.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first one at Gosford or something. I did it. I went a bit long, snapped the back shocks off the Harley, compressed my spine. Like, so I was inside, couldn't move, landed it, rode out, just rode straight to the end of the footy field and then just stopped, like slowly stopped.
Oh, no.
And everyone come running down, slapping me on my back cheer. And I was like, don't touch me. Like, please do not touch me. Or like, my back's fucked. Like, it's done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I can't move. So then they kind of stretched me off, went to hospital and got all scans and all that sort of stuff, put me on some pain meds, ended up making the after party afterwards. So
The compressed spine.
yeah. So it was I was in so much pain. Then we had the show the weekend after, in Darwin, I think. And like I tried to ride freestyle and I couldn't even jump that, and I was like, but the money I was getting for the Harley flip was like stupid, like crazy. I'm like, I'm not gonna not flip the Harley, and they just said, don't worry about it, we'll pull the Harley. I was like, nah, one jump, I got this.
Yeah.
I ended up landing it perfect, but I hit my ass on the seat again and then compressed my spine a little bit, but we just iced it and painkillers again, and pretty much did that whole tour in pain, and then crashed one at Melbourne, I think. Crashed it, broke my ankle a little bit, but kept, like as we do, painkillers, and just finished off that tour and ended up crashed at Bundaberg, fell off the thing, but didn't hurt myself.
Yep.
Bike went into the fence, into the crowd, didn't hurt anyone, happily. So, and then I think I landed the rest of them. So it's pretty scary tour for that thing. Like, you just sit on it and it's like how every time it just got scary. I'm like, how can this thing be flipped? Because the thing's just nothing like I've ever felt before. And then a lot of people would say to me, like, it's just another Harley. It's just another flip. Like, it's just another bike you're flipping. I'm like, righto, sit on it, have a go. And this was people that toured with us, and they sit on it and they ride around. They're holy shit. Like, we got so much more respect for you now that we've actually just ridden this thing around. Like, they couldn't even imagine flipping the thing.
It was such a cool looking bike.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was pretty cool.
It sounded cool too, because they had the pipes chopped off and just so loud. And then when you flipped it, you just held it pin in the air and just made everything sound so much scarier. So it was pretty cool.
As a crowd member, it's just something that's always going to be a memory.
Yeah,
you know, that sort of thing. Like seeing a CRF do it or whatever. Okay, it's awesome.
Yeah,
but you see something like that, you're like, holy crap, it's massive, isn't it?
It's cool.
So,
and that's like a dude messaged me last night asking, saying the Harley flip, like, it's weird. Just messaged me last night. I haven't heard anything for ages. And he goes, like, Harley flip you did, man, it's cool. You had different suspension on that, yeah, like KTM front suspension or whatever. And he goes, yeah, that was the sickest thing I've ever seen. And it was like, so I'm still getting like fan mail from
10
it.
years.
So yeah, it's cool. It kind of makes me think because I kind of look back and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then it's like, that was actually cool. And he goes, did you ever get a front cover for like free ride or anything? I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm like, I don't actually even recall even if it made a front cover for any magazine.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if it did or not, but if anyone like sees one or anything, I don't have any of them. So if it did, like, let me know, and I'd like to have one.
Because it was a special moment in the sport.
Yeah, definitely.
I seen it the other week.
Yeah,
the bike.
It's still going. That's because that was the same one Seth was doing long distance jumps on.
Yeah.
So they obviously changed the swing arm on it and stuff like that, so it would better to jump. So I tried flipping it into Jacko's foam pit before that tour, that Crusty tour.
Yep.
But they had Seth's long jump swing arm on it, and I kept landing upside down. Couldn't get it around. I'm like, what's going on? We can't work it out. And then Gav worked out, he swapped the swing arms over. So then as soon as we changed that back over, I was like, we was doing it, it's coming around.
Really?
Not easy, but it was coming around perfect.
So the longer swing arm made that much of a difference?
So much difference.
Yeah, because I was up at a shop up the Sunny Coast, and they got both up there at the moment.
Yeah.
And I see them like, and that's a cool piece of history.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And was it fun?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Every time I had to even the thought of doing it was cool.
Yeah.
And then every time I'd go to the show was coming up, go to sit on the bike, I'm just like, what am I got myself into? Like, this is dangerous. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. But just young and just keen to have a go. And the money was so good. So I was just like, it bought me a house and everything. So it was awesome. And then Gav ended up having this idea to flip a Road King. So I was like, yep, righto, I'm in again.
Oh, no.
So we went down to Sinclair's foam pit again, a different foam pit at this time. and he took all the bags and stuff off this Road King, and I tried 3 times to flip it into the pit and only get not even halfway around each time. Bikes land on top of me, and then I'm like, God, this isn't happening. Like, something needs to be changed because it's not coming around. Like, and I wasn't doing anything different to the other bike. I was pulling harder and just wouldn't come around. And then so we went to Jacko Strong's next, like a month or a couple of weeks later. He made the bike really fast, spent $5,000 on the motor. So the thing was so crazy fast. This might get it around. And it'd only get me around just a little bit past halfway, if that. And I had another 3 goes at that. And I'm just like, this isn't happening again, Gav. Like, something needs to fully change. Like, you need to shorten the bike, or it's something needs to go on. So that never happened, which kind of sucks for Gav, because that's what him and Harley wanted at the time, someone to flip a Road King, because you see that would be cool.
Oh, mate.
Because they wanted that at a Sturgis event for 1 year.
Yep.
And that was kind of going to be big money for me.
Yeah.
So we couldn't make that happen, but we were still talking about it for years, and I got the point to the point I'm like, how like cheetah ramps. They got all those cheetah ramps and stuff now, and you can how monster trucks flip. Mm-hmm. That kicks their front forwards. That's probably the only way I could see that Road King, a standard Road King, getting flipped. And then even that, you'd need a real an airbag lander or something real cushiony. But that's possible. And I'm like, Gav, if you ever want to try that out, let me know. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And so, but nothing's happened yet. But I'm getting to that age now. I'm kind of getting old. I'm running out of time. If you want this to happen, probably need to happen now. But I don't know if I could do it. I think I'm getting older and getting scareder or smarter, getting a lot smarter and not really pushing the boundaries as much. So,
because you're talking about over 300 kilos.
Yeah.
At that point, It's a fair jump up from the XR1200.
What was the XR1200?
250?
250,
240 something, I think.
So with them aftermarket parts on it, it's probably a bit heavier.
Probably chucked a bit into it.
Yeah.
Because the forks were huge. The forks and triples on it were massive after looking at it, when they put the KDM stuff on.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool time.
Yeah, crazy times.
What's a cool day in freestyle? What's been a day that you can just remember? Wow, that was obviously landing a world record, doing world first. That's one big one. What's been another really good day?
Not too sure. The last time I rode mini bikes on that Crusty tour, I think I nearly had ruler flips on the thing. I had them that big, over 45 foot, nearly doing ruler flips. And I was like, and I've seen photos of them to this day. And I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. But I remember one time at our first backflips ever, obviously back in 2002 was a highlight, life highlight, because we're at the top. I was second in the world to do it on 125 and top 10 in the world, first people to do it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But I remember riding out Shoeys with Bilko and Sinks and all the boys, and Shoey had this big 110 dirt hit at the time, and we're all jumping it, and then Bilko rocks up, cocky Bilko, he goes, I'll flip that third jump. Flips at third jump, never flipped the dirt hit or anything. Me, I've never flipped the dirt hit. And he talked me into it, and I end up flipping the 110 dirt hit, it's huge jump, it just goes so high as well. I end up doing no-handed flips off it, whip flips, and just doing all this cool stuff off it. And so I remember stuff like that, cool riding days like that, it just gets your heart racing. You think I could really get hurt doing this, or it's just going to work out perfect for me. So it worked out perfect. So it was good.
Yeah, some of those compounds and that you've got to visit too. I guess days like that, because you are with your mates. You're working as such as well, but I guess days like that are pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's and with everyone together, it's kind of you have to start having fun and pushing yourselves. And back in the day we used to anyway, but these days I'm kind of just getting older and taking it safe and just having fun doing it.
How'd 50-60 come about?
We used to ride at obviously Shoeys growing up, when we first started. Then Adam Bayard had a compound in Brisbane. And that got shut down from a council. It was a neighbour across the road, was a bit of a dickhead, and just kept ringing every day we were there. And even if we weren't there, he'd still ring the council, and it's just been a massive pain in the arse. So 2 years of that complaints going on, they finally shut us down. You had to live there to ride there. So I was like, Bayard's like, it was kind of pointless. And then we put it out on the internet. We're like, we need somewhere to ride. Can anyone help us out? And then a buddy we used to ride for, Matt Lindors, he just said, hey, I've got a bit of property down south. Come check it out. If it's good enough for you can do whatever you want there.
Wow.
Just look after it. And I went down there, and it was like perfect distance for like 75, and the runoff was perfect. And we had like, it was on a hill.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting sponsored by an earthwork company, which did a lot of earthworks for us, moved a lot of dirt for us, and then it just got been getting built bigger and bigger every year. So like Harry's just spent another, like, I don't know, I say $100,000 on it. Just a lot of earthworks, just getting these big airbags set up and all that kind of stuff. So over the years, it's gone from just having one 75-foot ramp to like we've got like 2 side bys. We've got the moon booted concrete running. Everything's concrete running to the foam pit.
Yeah.
Concrete running to Harry's airbag. We got like a big shed up top. We got 3 containers storage, and it's just everything. We got like 12 to 15 different ramps there to hit. Like it's crazy. It's like you can have so much fun there.
It's a good setup.
You can get hurt really easy.
Yeah, it's a good setup, eh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And foam pits, like you're talking about jumping into them, they can be dangerous too, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just you're guaranteed, are you?
No, I've luckily never really got that hurt into a foam pit, but back in the day, like a young dude got paralysed in our foam pit in Gladstone. Wow. Just flipping a mini bike, let go of it, hit the top of his head. So he got paralysed from that. Like top dogs, snapped his tib and fib. We've been broken backs, everything like that. It's not fun. Like if you can learn a trick not going into the foam pit, cool. Yeah. But if you need to go into the foam pit because you're doing something stupid, then you should definitely go into the foam pit. Yeah.
What's the new one that Harry's got? What's that? Are they like a new airbag setup? Obviously.
Yeah. So everyone's doing these airbag things now. So instead of like in a foam pit, you jump into a foam pit and you're stuck in there. It's hard to get out, and you got to get the crane to lift you out, and then by then you're like, after like 2 jumps, you're ruined. Like you're physically drained. And then if you want to learn stuff, like being physically drained is like it's not helping you. So now these airbags, they jump, land in it, and they pretty much push their bike off to the side, straight back into it.
Wow.
Like it's just good to go. No crane, nothing. Like the airbag just deflates enough to get off the side of the bike and side of the airbag. And
wow.
It's just it's a game changer, Harry reckons.
Yeah, it must be a huge thing.
Yeah.
What do you see the sport going to? Do you see it accelerating further? Like you just look at each year, you say, oh, that can't be done, or that, but something else does change.
Yeah, well, everyone's been saying freestyle's dead since 2010.
But it's not.
It's getting bigger and bigger. It's always new things, different things going on. Like I don't know where it's going, but it's not stopping.
No.
Like maybe like shows and stuff might start to slow down, like across the country and all that kind of stuff, but like there's always going to be something. Like it's everyone's coming up with new tricks still and crazy stuff, and it's at that stage. Like if you're young coming into the sport, like you got so much to learn. So much. So it's crazy.
So much progression. Hey, like you look at some of the stuff that Harry's trying to do and that.
Yeah.
Like
it's like he can have that. He's still pretty young, so he can he can have all that to himself.
Do you think if you were coming into it at 20? That you'd look at some of the stuff that he's doing and go, wow.
Definitely. I had the same mental attitude that he did at that age, and I was just like, I was on.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is it? I'll do it. And now I'm just like, I could possibly get hurt from doing that. I'm not doing it.
Yep.
Not happening.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
What's been a favourite bike over the time?
Whoever we're sponsored by at the time, of course. I don't know. They've all been the same to me. I had got sponsored by Husqvarna for a year, and at that stage they still had a carby, so they weren't fuel injected, and I nearly died so many times jumping. Every time I'd hit the ramp, around a motocross track, perfect. Like the bike felt so good, but every time I'd hit the ramp, it'd bog on me, and I'd be doing flips, and I'd like nearly just come round. Like this is so dangerous. But they were a good bike, but just had carby problems at the time, but now everything's fuel injected, so they're perfect. But we've been on Hondas since 2012 or 2013, I think. They're an awesome bike. Every bike we've been on's been awesome. Like they're all the same, I think.
New bikes are all good.
Just depends what colour you want. If you don't like it, you like a certain bike, just change the plastics to black.
New bikes are always good.
Yeah.
Who's been an influence throughout the career?
Jono Porter's obviously the main one.
Yeah.
Then just because I've like grew up like riding with Sinclair and Bilko, like they were main influences as well, and just like Shuey, learn a lot from Shuey as we'd ride out at his place like constantly every day. We'd just go and camp out at his compound overnight, even if he wasn't home and stuff. So he was awesome like that, and pretty much all the Aussie blokes that we're all friends with. They're just everyone's just played a big spot point in my life and to where I am today.
Can you because you've all grown up basically doing this stuff together? Can you imagine in 20 years' time there's like a retro tour or a veterans tour?
Yeah, well they tried that with that Crusty tour like a couple of years ago, didn't they? And it just like
didn't work.
Didn't go ahead, didn't work. It's like they want to, because people want to see a show. They don't want to see a whole bunch of old dudes not really doing tricks anymore. So it's kind of like you'd need, I don't know, it'd be cool, but you'd need something totally different theme or something like that.
Yeah, something else to add to it.
Something that would work for people would actually want to go and see. Because you got your OG fans, like they're going to go, but
they'll still go. Yeah.
How many of them? Like a lot of the young kids coming up don't even know what Crusties are these days. It's all nitro circuits and all stuff like that. So
it's pretty amazing to think, considering like at the age that we're at, like Crusties and that was just such a huge part of life.
Yeah, definitely.
It was such a big thing to look at, and when VHS was a popular thing.
Yep.
But, well, mate, thank you so much for coming in.
No worries. I'm surprised I actually talk this much. I'm not much of a talker, so I didn't stop the whole time, which is surprising.
No, you absolutely nailed it, mate. And once again, thanks so much for coming up here. And
no worries, mate.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
Anytime.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Cheers.